Welcome back. Got another interview for you tonight. Danny Jugan, Access Football Games coming out next Wednesday. Do me a favor, take a moment, like button, subscribe button, criticism in the comment section, Twitter, Shutdown Safety is my username. Adding to the collection of designers and developers I spoke to on my channel, I'm going to have Neil Bauer on with me as well. If you haven't watched some of the older interviews we've done, we've got Michael Mentheim, Clint Oldenburg, Rex Dixon, Damon Groh. We've spoke to some NFL players, Johnny Rutledge, Quinn Pitcock. So make sure you give those a listen as well. All right, Danny. So first of all, I appreciate your time coming on today and talking to us about this. Obviously, I'm not a big PC gamer, but I know a lot of people in the sim football community have expressed some interest in your game. So I guess the first question I want to ask you is, if I'm out there on Steam, I've got a PC, I don't really want to play Madden 04 or mod that, what is Access Football going to bring to the table?
Well, the first thing it's going to give you is a great football game. And I've been listening to the community, and when I originally released the game, I had the roster set. Each player's got their own set of stats, and they really said, we want a game that we can mod. And that wasn't something that was in the game originally. And my approach to this was, my game can't beat Madden. I do most everything myself, and I know that I can't compete with them. So my only hope to make this game successful is to listen to what the community wants and to give them the game that they've been asking for. And so it's going to offer initially some basic roster mods. So I took all of the rosters for each of the 32 teams, and I've moved them to external files so that it's really easy to modify. And then I've been working with the community as well, and our plan is to add a lot more. We're going to go in and be able to modify the individual stats for all the players. We want to be able to create new teams, and all of this is in kind of the future plans, near future. But the game itself is a lot of fun, and it's also going to give them the ability right now to put in whatever names, numbers. They can make black and white players, whatever they want to do in the game initially. So they can put all their friends' names, their names. That's got the game right now.
Well, that's fantastic. I actually looked at a YouTube video before the show, and I saw that you put yourself in as a wideout on the Pittsburgh
Steelman.
Steelman. There we go.
Careful.
Whoa, let's back up a little bit. But my question is that it looks like you have a couple football games under your belt. You had flag football, then you had the 2D Access Football League, and now you're moving into 3D. And that is slated for a summer release. Is that correct?
Next week, next Wednesday. So July 15th, it's coming.
July 15th. Mark your calendars, everybody. How long have you been working on football games, and what have you learned through the process of these 3 games?
I think the first flag football game I made was back in 2007. And I guess over the past 8 years, I've learned a ton. Really two main things. One, what makes a really good football game? Because the first couple I made weren't. And I got a lot of feedback from the community. And one of the main features we added was the aimed passing system. Where you can actually, it's on a PC, so you can take your mouse and you can literally throw the ball wherever you want on the field, just like a regular quarterback would. And this adds a lot of fun and a lot of control, whereas if you play other games, you simply hit a button to throw to a particular receiver and you just hope the ball goes where you want it to. But this aimed passing system gives you the ability to throw receivers open, throw routes that you can't otherwise. And so that's something that the community and the players really responded to. They said, we really like that. So we kind of perfected that in this 2015 edition. And the other main thing that I learned over the years was working with AI. I've spent a ton of time, and I'm actually working on my PhD in artificial intelligence for football games. And writing a lot of academic papers on it. So this is what I've spent a lot of time doing, studying football, studying AI in games, and how to make it to where it looks and plays like it should.
And that's going to lead into my next question. I know you mentioned, obviously, and no one expects, no offense to you, an independent game to come out and challenge Madden. I think you're looking at totally different scope, totally different realm, totally different genres of gaming. A lot of people are very intrigued by franchise modes, and a lot of that doesn't include gameplay. It includes things like how other teams react in free agency, how your team reacts in free agency, your ticket prices, your stadium resources, how you allocate your money, how you salary cap, million and one things. So I think a lot of that doesn't really actually have to go into how much time, effort, and resource you can put into an actual game in terms of on field, but more behind the scenes coding and logic. So if I were to get involved in the game right now and I fired up a franchise mode, assuming you have one, what can you provide me from that experience from a depth standpoint?
Well, unfortunately, we don't have franchise mode in yet. That's our number one thing that we are doing looking at the future. So that and mod support is what we're doing. So right now we have full season mode in with playoffs, and we've heard over and over from the community, when are you putting in franchise mode? And that's definitely something that we're doing. So what we want to look at is players have expressed a lot of interest in being able to play the game, and not just from the GM point of view where you're controlling the things that you mentioned, but also from the coach's point of view where you're not necessarily controlling the players, but you are picking the plays, you're making the decisions in the game that a coach would make. And that's something that people said, I stopped playing Madden when they took that out. So that's definitely one of the routes that we're going to go. We're going to go with coach mode as a part of franchise mode. So when you start a franchise, you pick your team. It's obviously going to be for a bunch of seasons. You'll have drafts in between the season where you can kind of manage your roster. You'll be able to work on certain aspects of your team's play, whether it's passing or defense or that sort of thing. But you also have the ability to say, I want to control the players and pick the plays, or I just want to pick the plays. And you'll be able to toggle that on and off. Maybe you play a couple seasons and you're kind of tired of controlling the players, so you're just going to switch into coach mode. But those are the kind of things that we want to give players. And, on top of that, we are open to suggestions. If there's a particular feature that's a part of franchise mode or GM or coach mode that the players really want, we're going to add that in. When our game was greenlit 3 months ago, we had kind of a core set of features, and then over the past 3 months, we have added a ton of stuff that the community said we really want, because like I mentioned at the beginning, we know that that's our only hope in making a successful game.
You mentioned that you're getting a PhD, which is a laudable accolade in itself, but then you're also working to fill a void in football that's been vacant for close to a decade. So I can't make time some days to brush my teeth and put on a pair of pants. So how do you find time, and how many people are working with you on getting these games out? It looks like you have a couple games in development, football being kind of like a flagship, but how many do you have in development, and how many staff members you have?
We have 3 in development right now. 99.9% of our attention is focused on Axis football. We have a couple other ones in the works, but those are kind of on the back burner now. I have done most everything with Axis football, but I've got some people working with me on these other games. As far as time, there's really 2 things. God's given me an incredible amount of grace and focus when it comes to being able to sit down and get work done. And the other thing is my family is just awesome. I've got a wife and 3 kids, and they give me a ton of support when it comes to this stuff, and I couldn't do it without them. So that's how I'm able to get some stuff done.
A wife and 3 kids, a PhD, and a football game. You're making me look really bad. I've got 2 kids, no football game. That's phenomenal.
But
Congrats.
To be honest, it comes with sacrifices. There's a lot of times I sit down at my computer and I have the choice of, do I want to work on a game or do I want to play a game? And it's a lot more fun to play games most of the time. And so it's a struggle, but it definitely is worth it in the end.
Yeah, I also feel terrible now, as just a recourse to everyone. We are a little bit late in this interview because I had to get a shower after I biked 4 miles, and now I feel terrible because I don't spin any of those plates. The question that I would have for you would be, I have watched some gameplay online. I've listened to some of the people that I know that play the game. I haven't played it myself, in all honesty and transparency. What would you say about the greatest aspect of the game to you? What are you most proud of? But also, when I looked at some of the line interactions, it looked like a lot of the linemen just stood there and maybe just held blocks for a determined amount of time with not a whole lot of maybe, if you can understand what I say when I say readability of a pocket collapsing, where I can see containment getting lost. So how would you answer those two questions?
Okay, well, the kind of the hallmark feature of this game is the aimed passing system, without a doubt. It is a ton of fun to play with. If you haven't done it, at least check it out or watch videos of it. Being able to control where specifically you throw the ball is a lot of fun. And it's also, there's some realistic aspects to it. So I think if you've seen some videos, while you're passing, there's kind of a semi-transparent circle that's on the field, and that determines where your ball is thrown, and the circle gets larger and smaller depending on whether you're moving, depending on whether you're trying to throw across your body, how far down the field you are, and the ball is going to be thrown in kind of a random spot inside that circle. So obviously the smaller it is, the more accurate you are. So that feature is by far kind of the hallmark of the game. And what you mentioned before about the linemen, you are absolutely correct. The linemen kind of engage in a block, and there's not a whole lot of interaction there. That is one of the things that we hope to be able to fix with a little bit of financial support, in all honesty. Our budget for this game is ridiculously small. And we have new player models being developed right now, but these animations and the kind of interaction we'd like to see between blockers, or even having more dynamic tackles. We have like 2 tackle animations, and that's about it. Unfortunately, those animations don't just grow on trees, and we don't have a motion capture studio in our house or our office, and so we have to outsource those kind of things, and all that costs money. So I've tried to be really transparent with the community about saying, if you guys can get behind this game, we're reinvesting all of our revenue back into the game. So we want to improve those things because, trust me, we spend a lot of time, testing plays and running stuff, and we see the stuff that they see too. We don't like the fact that the linemen just kind of look like they're hugging, but with the resources we have now, that's about the best as we can do.
So let us help you. You said this game got greenlit, and
yes.
that it is now. Where can I saw that this afternoon? I played the 2D version of the game. I played about 2 quarters of it and proceeded to throw like 5 interceptions. I definitely like the passing interface, and I'm guessing it's going to be an enhanced or a very similar type version of that going into 3D. I didn't get a chance.
Yeah, it's a lot better.
Great. It was actually kind of fun because you was able to lead. I was terrible at it for 2 quarters, and I don't want to talk about it. Throwing 2 pick sixes in a row. The defense loved me. But here's the deal. Now that the game is greenlit and it looks like it's available for sale on your site, where else can gamers actually find and locate this?
Okay, so we have the 2014 version available for sale on our site, but I would strongly recommend waiting a week and getting the 2015 version because the 2014 version doesn't have any new features. You can kind of put the game on your wish list. So if you go to Steam and you search for Access Football, it's there. You can check it out. There's trailers, lots of screenshots. You can read descriptions about what we've added and all that sort of thing. It's just not for sale yet. It will be for sale next Wednesday on July 15th. So what I would say now is go ahead into Steam, search Access Football, go ahead and add it to your wish list so that you can purchase it next Wednesday when it goes on sale.
And what is the MSRP for that?
We are selling it for $19.99. During the first week, it's going to be 10% off on Steam. So if you plan on getting it, go ahead and grab it early so you can take advantage of the discount.
All right, well, Danny, on behalf of Neil and both myself, everybody that listens to my channel, I certainly appreciate you coming on. You're actually, I think, the 4th or 5th game designer we've had on just even recently to talk about your game. So we wish you all the best of success. I'm going to actually get the game myself, hopefully, if my old laptop will run it, maybe throw up a few breakdowns if I have to. But I definitely do appreciate your time and wish you the best with the game. We'll put some links down in the description for you to check it out as well if you guys would like to.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys.